video is going to be about how to make a revision timetable to give yourself the best chance of meeting the objectives, the intentions that you had going into your holiday, and leaving less things to chance, and coming out on the other side satisfied that you spent your time productively and successfully. Okay, so first things first, I mean, look, generally speaking, holidays, they are a time where in the past I would have said work, 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 but term times are intense, and wherever possible, primarily your holiday should be you getting yourself recharged and ready to work again, all guns blazing, full steam ahead when the term starts again. That's your priority. Whatever you have to do to get in that mental space, do that. But I'm thinking you can do both. You can have a bit of time, you can have significant amounts of time for rest and relaxation, while also getting some things done so that you don't have the added burden of all that work still being left to do on the other side of the holiday. So, how do we make the most of our holiday times or break times? And I'm suggesting have a solid revision timetable. What's the best way to make a revision timetable? What kind of things do you need to consider, and how do you do it? So the step one, if you will, for the revision timetable is going to be start with the end. What is it that you want to have done by the time the holiday finishes? That is what you should be starting your revision timetable with. Okay, so you've got a certain number of weeks. What is it that you want to do? So let's say we've got 2 weeks for Christmas. Okay, week 1, week 2, and just for example, let's say that my target was having module 5 recapped, revised, re-revised, or you know, you want to go over that content again. You got 2 weeks to do it. Okay, right? So you know the dangers. So some of the things that you could be doing wrong are: you got 3 A levels. Okay, I'm gonna spend three hours a day. I'm going to spend 3 hours a day on biology, 3 hours, you know, let's make that a bit more realistic. Let's say you're going to spend 2 hours a day on each subject. If that's your plan, there's no overall goal that you're achieving. So you could be sitting there for 2 hours, not really achieving much, and you wouldn't really know whether you've had a successful 2 hours or a quite unproductive 2 hours, because technically speaking, you've achieved your goal of sitting there for 2 hours doing whatever subject for that amount of time. So 2 hours a day, that's not a realistic, or that's not an advisable way to go about things. Okay, you know, you might even say, well, I'm going to spend 4 days, the first 4 days on bio, the next 4 days on chemistry, for example, and I'm going to spend the last 4 days on maths. All right, well, you know, that's a good way to kind of make sure that all your subjects are in balance. But again, there's no target here. There's nothing specific that you're trying to achieve apart from killing time. Okay, to be extreme, but you're just you're spending your time studying some stuff. Who knows how much you're going to get done? Who knows if it's going to be useful? It might, but there's no accountability on you for that. Okay, so what I'm suggesting is you start with the end in mind. I want to have module 5 done by the end, and that's not to say that that's just for one subject. Okay, for biology, your aim can be this. For another subject, you can have an aim too, and so on for however many subjects you're doing. So, key point, start with the end goal in mind. What is it that you want to do? And obviously have a time scale. for the first step, it's just important to have a time scale. Okay, step 2. I'll leave that up there for now. 2, start breaking down. So break down the overall goal. Start breaking down goal into achievable targets. Start breaking down your goal into achievable targets, okay? Now what that means is you know that in 2 weeks you want to get module 5 done. So for module 5 you've got 2 weeks. Great. You need to start breaking that down into what realistically can you do in the first week, what should you be doing in the second week, okay? So you might, what was it in module 5? Right, so in the first week you might say in the first week you want to do nervous system, you want to do endocrine system, you want to do the responses, okay, so maybe we'll leave it there. Then in the second week you might want to take care of all the energy stuff, respiration, photosynthesis, and you might want to take care of the excretion and homeostasis. Now, just off the top of my head, I might have missed some stuff out there, but basically what we're doing is we're being specific about what we want to achieve, generally speaking, in the 2 weeks that we have. So we've broken down the 2-week goal into weekly tasks. Now, you need to break that down even further into daily targets. So in order to get nervous system, endocrine system, and the responses done by the end of the first week, what do we have to get done on a daily basis? Once you've got that roughly worked out, even then you want to break that down into hourly targets, right? So you've gone from roughly knowing what you want to achieve over 2 weeks to knowing exactly what you're going to be spending your time on an hourly basis. Yeah. Now, obviously, that doesn't mean you have to plan out all of your 24 hours of the day, but if you've allotted 6 hours a day to do your work, then you know exactly what you want to do in each of those 6 hours. That's what I'm saying. Okay? So let's tidy that up a little bit. We want to break down our goal into achievable targets. That means we know what we want to achieve over the weeks, and we're breaking that down further into specifically what do we want to get done on a daily basis, because then we can, we have something that we're working towards, we have some pressure that we're trying to get something done. Okay, that often allows us to get a little bit more done than we otherwise would, and then even up to hours. Okay, so that's my next step. Third, am I falling off the page here? Yes, a little bit. I am. Third is checking for doability. It has to be manageable, it has to be achievable, otherwise your timetable is a really kind of imaginary thing, and you will be disappointing yourself if you don't achieve your timetable, so you've got to make it manageable. And if it's not manageable, well, we'll get to that a bit later, but we might need to start looking at our goal again. Okay, so checking for doability. Now, what kind of things can you do to check for this? So first things first, let's check my list here. First things first, remember that this is your holiday. So you need to make sure that you're not overworking yourself. You don't want to come back to college or school still tired because you've just spent too much time in your break working. Okay, so you have to make sure that you're giving enough time of the day just to have rest and relaxation. Okay, so that's primary. So you got rest and relaxation, activities or lack of activities. That's up to you, right? But you got that factored in. Next, breaks. Okay, breaks. So again, this all comes back to, is it going to be manageable? Physically, can you do this? So, you know, we've discussed what we want to achieve on an almost hourly basis. Well, roughly every 45 to 50 minutes, you probably want to be taking a break. Now again, that's up to you. It depends on what's the best way that you work, but breaks are important. You've got to factor those in as well. Next, it's the holidays. You know, could have family over, you might be obligated, or kind of certain things have already been added to your calendar. So whatever that is, factor in events, right? So if you know that some amount of time is going to be not, you know, you're not going to be working in that time, you have to put that into your timetable so that you can account for that and then move things around accordingly to get it done at the appropriate possible time. So events you have to account for. Two things which are related. Am I still on the page? Two things which are related is wiggle room. Wiggle room and, you know, catch up days. I mean, when you make a timetable such as this, the only thing that's going to be 100% certain is that it's not going to work out according to your plan. So what I would do is factor in on a daily basis even some wiggle room, and even at the end of the week have a day spare where if things haven't gone according to plan, you've still got that day that things can spill over into, and it's not going to affect your bigger plan too much. So this is important. And I think if you get to this stage, you might have a half decent looking revision timetable, which I wish you all the best with, okay? But if you get to this point and it's not, like, you know, you started with a goal, it's not manageable given all these things, then you might have to use that to readjust your overall goal. Because this whole process is a little bit of trial and error. It's not like any task can be made possible with the right timetable, okay? This process is allowing you to have a look to see whether the thing that you want to do is even manageable in the first place, given your lifestyle, given your circumstances, and all of that. So it might be that, you know, you might need to readjust your goal, okay? But my point here is that going into the holidays or any kind of amount of time with a plan is usually better than going in with no plan, okay? So even if you got 2 weeks and you don't, you know, your timetabling tells you that the things that you really want to get done are not possible, even if you get 50% of that done, that's still maybe 50% that maybe otherwise might have been 25% had you not gone in with a plan. So these are my thoughts on how you might want to spend your holidays and how you might make it both productive and restful, right? And refreshing. That's again, I stress, that's probably the most important thing, that you get you mentally back in a place where you're ready to start the term again, re-energized, okay? And if along the way that you can get some boxes ticked and things done, well, there's no harm in that, is there? All right, guys, have a good holiday. Yeah, good luck with whatever you want to get done.